Today for my presentation of Nintendo's Corporate Social Responsibility Recommendation Report. My name is Andre Tien, and I will take you through a brief overview of what we'll be talking about today. We'll be primarily focusing on the environmental impacts of corporate social responsibility within Nintendo, along with a SWOT analysis of their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Finally, I'll be giving my recommendations based on all those previous factors, and then we will conclude. First off, a brief introduction about Nintendo. Nintendo is the oldest gaming company that exists today, and it is generally known for very innovative and cutting-edge technology that they have created over many different generations. One of the things that they have excelled at is knowing the market, being able to create very innovative gaming technology in the past couple of decades, as well as being aware of their environmental responsibility within the world. And that's why they released their CSR report for 2018, 19, and finally 2020. One of the things is their motto, which is to bring smiles to the people, whoever they touch. And that means not only shareholders, but consumers and people that are impacted by their business decisions. So, among the strengths is just that. They're painfully aware of the responsibility that they have since they are creating a consumer electronic, as well as the e-waste and everything that comes off of that, and everything that goes into the production of their consoles, hardware, and peripherals. Now, another strength for Nintendo is their amazing branding. Their mascots are instantly recognizable. Mario, Bowser, and Link are all immediately associated with Nintendo, no matter where you are in the world. Even their CEO is named Doug Bowser. So they have a very family-friendly branding in that approach as well, because everybody knows that when they pick up a Nintendo product, that it is immediately okay for their children to play with that product. Now, here are some weaknesses, and some of them aren't always completely devoid of their strengths. They have issues with their supply chains, whether or not it's ethical, including with a reported issue about their cobalt mining in the Congo. Now, cobalt is a necessary ingredient for lithium-ion batteries, and as part of Nintendo's hardware, this kind of undermines Nintendo's core messaging about being family-friendly. They also have too much reliance on first-party titles. I'll give you an example in a second, but Nintendo's recognizable mascots are getting tired. They're rehashed and they lead basically everything for the last generations of video games. However, competitors are leveraging third-party exclusives. Let me give you this example. This is the forerunner of the Super Nintendo system, and also the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's Mario and Link. And here is their latest titles, Mario and Link again, in the newest titles. Even their third-party Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has, leading it, Mario and Link. Contrast this to Sony. Sony has many different third-party developers, from Guerrilla, Naughty Dog, and Santa Monica Studios. These titles have pushed and sold their consoles exclusively, even though these third-party companies are not exclusive to Nintendo. Another issue is dated marketing. Nintendo is a little bit stuck in the past again here, with not recognizing that 38% of the people that consume their electronics are now at the age of 18 to 34. These people have grown up with Nintendo products, and we'll get back to why that's important in opportunities. Within opportunities, we are now in a digital sales era. Hardware isn't as important. Nintendo Direct sales could be better through their Nintendo Shop. Digital sales protect the environment by reducing the amount of hardware that you need, and they mean direct profit through that Nintendo Shop again. We need to create a strong third-party publisher for Nintendo to promote their consoles and sell their consoles. Now, Nintendo games are perfect for the mobile market because they are not particularly demanding for most phones, and they are low impact. Now, there are some threats to Nintendo. One of the threats is that handhelds were on the decline before. when you're directly doing handheld sales through the Nintendo Switch, it's a niche market that was suffering before the Switch was able to create a hybrid of a home console and a handheld console. Another threat is that cheap VR is already here in people's living room. Sony has capitalized on the fact that they can create consumer-friendly VR for fairly cheap that's in every household and can be paired with their console. Nintendo consoles are not strong enough to maintain VR systems. So, what does Nintendo do in this issue? Well, here's some recommendations. First, I'll do a quote here by Satoru Iwata, who was the former CEO of Nintendo until he passed away in 2015. One of the points that he was brought up was here when talking about the transition to mobile games. He said, if we continue down the same path as we have in the past, people may become tired of gaming. Now, even though he was for entering into mobile games, since his passing, Nintendo has been very reluctant. So here are some recommendations. Instead of trying to put a console into everyone's living room, instead, we could be putting a console into everyone's pocket. With the very recognizable mascots, you have the opportunity for gaming on mobile devices. It's also less e-waste. It means that you don't have to manufacture your own hardware. And going through the stores is direct to consumer. And you attract people who are not into gaming, like the Nintendo Wii did. Another thing that I want to touch on is that category of 18 to 34-year-olds. You can invigorate those generational gamers by releasing old intellectual property on mobile. By releasing those first games that I showed you that sold the Nintendo Entertainment System, you can capitalize on nostalgia while doing very minimal development work to move those games onto a mobile platform. Another great thing about moving onto mobile is when you do create those games, you don't have to build extra hardware to run those older games on today's machines. When you convert them onto mobile, it's just that simple. Another idea is to have the Switch Pro. When you release the next generation of Switch consoles, you can have two different kinds, a digital and a traditional. The traditional obviously will be able to still play cartridges, but you make the digital version slightly under MSRP. When you do that, more people will be drawn to the digital version and they will be buying games directly through the digital store. This will, again, reduce electronic waste. Now, in conclusion, I think Nintendo has everything it needs to become very, very popular and lead the entire gaming market onto mobile. I think it has all the potential intellectual properties and very strong foundational series of fans that would be able to take the mobile gaming to the next level. And now, with more people than ever reporting playing on their games, and 75% of households having at least one person who plays mobile games, you can be sure that Nintendo can do it. I want to thank you all for your time, and I hope that you had a great presentation here today.